Good morning, afternoon, good evening, good night. This is downloading soon, something we've not done for a long time. There's only two of us. Why is that? It's because Daniel has no interest in talking about what we're talking about.
Yeah, he thinks he's a big boy or something and doesn't play Pokemon.
He's not of our generation, that's why, mate. He's not from the...
Yeah.
He's not as old as we are. That's the whole thing. It skipped a generation there.
Yeah, boy.
How are we? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. It's 20 to 11 and I've got a public holiday tomorrow, so I don't have to do shit.
It is the opposite time here. It is 20 to 1 in the afternoon, which is lunchtime for me. So what better to do than talk about a video game that's coming out in 2 days? We tend to do these things when they're like months and months out and speculate. To caveat, we are talking about that big thing what is in the middle of the screen, which is Pokémon Legends Arceus, however the hell you pronounce him in your language. It's coming out in 2 days, Chunt. We deliberated yesterday on whether we should even do this because we're both aware that there's been significant leaks. I have stayed away from them. I've seen a couple of people say, look, you're in for a treat, basically, but it's something I didn't want to know too much about. Do you know what I mean? And once we realised that they weren't really talking about it themselves, knowing Nintendo, I know a lot of the industry, when they're not talking about something, they're not hyping it and they're not promoting it, it's usually a bad sign, right? But this, for some reason, it smacked quite of quiet confidence. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we don't need to show you this, just when it comes out, you're going to want to play it. It's the kind of the narrative that Nintendo have been throwing around. So I've avoided story spoilers, everything. I don't have any kind of meat to it. I don't know what to expect at all. What about you? Are you in the same boat?
Yep, I've gone out of my way to try and avoid spoilers. It's particularly story-based stuff and like particular Pokemon that might be available in the game. I do know that someone who has been quite vocal in talking about it, what's his name? Austin Plays or some shit. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But he's been covering this game. And I watched a bit of his recent video. I don't follow him or anything, but I watched his recent video and he's just saying basically like, this is what you've seen on the game so far does not represent the final experience, and that's a good thing. Like, it's not what you expect, and there's lots in there that they haven't shown. I'm like, okay, that's all I need to know. Yeah. That backs up my want to play this game and settle some of my nerves so much. And even in that last trailer, like the last trailer they put out was in Japanese only. They finally released it in English, and I rewatched it. It's been a few weeks, and it does look a lot cleaner than all the other coverage that we've seen. You know, it just does. I don't know if it's just me or, you know, I'm in denial or something, but I'm actually very excited for the game, and it sounds like it's exactly what I want for a Pokemon game as someone that doesn't frequently follow Pokemon in general.
Awesome. Well, we've both got pre-orders down, right? So we'll both be playing this in the next 72 hours. I mean, it's Tuesday afternoon here. It's going in a Wednesday for you very, very shortly, so you're not too far away. Did you go digital or physical? Have you got to go collect it?
So for some reason, mate, I know I'm all digital on Xbox, right? But for some reason, it's the carts, the little cartridges, and something about Nintendo. I just want physical copies of my games. You know, it's really weird.
I actually went physical as well.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, I think I mentioned to you, one of our retailers here had it was already down to $44.99. So for context, Switch games are $49.99 here usually. Some like Zelda were $59.99, but typically $49.99 is what you can expect to pay, both on the eShop and for physical ones. The physical games often with retailers tend to come out at $44.99 to encourage people to pick up the physical version as opposed to the digital. So we're working on the basis that it was $44, and then they were offering an additional 15% off. So it worked out, it was like £37 or something to get the copy day and date. So yeah, I got physical, but it's getting delivered. I haven't got to go collect it, so I'll have it at some point on Friday, and we'll try and get some time into it over the weekend. I've been playing a heap of Pokemon anyway. I know we didn't in the last podcast we didn't really do what we've been playing, but I've been playing Brilliant Diamond and Sword and Shield. I was just messing around with Sword and Shield because I played it so many times and nearly finished it so many times. I was like, fuck's sake, I'm starting this again. How do I make this more entertaining? Because I know what's coming. So I just kept doing wonder trades, and I've got like a starting team with like friggin' Dratini and Metang and like loads of starters from different regions, so it's making it a bit more fun. But this is what I like. My hype level for Legends Arceus kind of spiraled after that Japanese trailer that you were referencing. I was like, I get it now. I get what they're trying to do. It's not just open world Pokemon with open world Pokemon battles and you're going to do the same thing where it's like fight your gym leaders, go do the Elite Four. It's not a typical experience. Everything we've been led to believe thus far, and again, they said we're not following any coverage, so this information is out there. But for me and you, like we're no wiser. But all I see is Monster Hunter. And it's like it seems like baby's first Monster Hunter, you know, whereas the games are like baby's first RPGs, right? So it can go in depth, but to finish it you don't need to kind of get in depth with it. So I see this happening the same way with Legends Arceus being much more of a baby's first Monster Hunter. I'm assuming this town we've seen referenced is kind of going to be the hub world, and then we're just going to go out and catch all different kinds of Pokemon. I hope it isn't just a case where it's like, oh, all you do in this game is go find different like Pokemon Snap. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got to find every single one and catch one of every single one and make it just about the gotta catch them all. I hope there is a story thread that runs through like what we're, some kind of hook as to what we're doing, because otherwise it's almost one of those pick up and you just casually play through it. I hope there's some kind of story beat to get me to the end.
Well, the new trailer they translated finally, it mentions about Team Galaxy or whatever it's called, and there's an organization in that big building that you see them in frequently, and there's all these characters in there. Like the Japanese trailer didn't make sense to me, obviously, because I don't speak Japanese, but this one I was like, oh, it gave me more of an insight into what the game is. And they actually describe certain parts of the game. I don't know if you've watched the new translated one, but
I haven't.
It does shine light on like what the story potentially is, and you are just collating and making the first Pokédex. Like we know that already, but there is a story behind it, which I'm excited to know. Like you said, I thought it was just going to be that too. I thought it was just going to be chill, kind of just catch them all a thon thing. And then I started thinking, imagine it was like Monster Hunter. They do say it's only a single player experience, but then there's conflicting information on Nintendo's website, and even on like the back of the box, it says up to 2 players. So I don't know what like that means. Is that just for trading? Is that what they're
I think it likely would be. It wouldn't make sense for there to be a game like this where you catch Pokemon and you can't trade with a second player. I don't envisage that it'll have the deep online functionality, of like global trading and things like that, but maybe connecting with a friend on your Nintendo account and doing old-fashioned trades like you would back in the day, something like that I can see still being a thing. Or maybe even with the items. Like they've indicated that there's a focus on crafting. So what's to say that, similar with Animal Crossing, right? You'd craft and build the items to fill out your town. It's like, if you needed resources, you could trade them with a friend type thing. Maybe they take a leap out of Animal Crossing's book and do that. Which kind of brings me to like a point that I wanted to raise re this game full stop. I'm getting a very, I'm assuming correct expressiveness from this game that they have taken on board all of Nintendo's major IPs and gone, what worked well in that? And how do we make it work well in Pokemon? So from Pokemon, you've got gotta catch them all, the monster catching it. They've looked at Monster Hunter Rise, which obviously was a Switch exclusive until very recently, and it's like, right, what does Monster Hunter get right that we can steal from there? And it's like, right, so what did Breath of the Wild get right? And it's the open world and it's the vastness of it. Like with Animal Crossing, it's the nurturing and the taking care of something and building the hub world, which building the overworld that you're in and making it yours. It seems like they're taking all of this influence from a bunch of games that everybody's loved over the last few years that Nintendo have put out and gone, right, how do we factor that into a Pokemon game? I don't know if you're reading the same as I am with that.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. And having been someone who's managed to put in 130 hours plus the Monster Hunter world, if this definitely add to coming back for replayability and like mix it up in between sessions, being out in the field and whatnot. Like I imagine, because you can be damaged. Like you see it in the trailer, where you're not just immune. You're not just you are vulnerable out there. You can get attacked, so you're at risk just like your Pokemon are, which is kind of cool. So you have to go back to your camp or whatever, or your village, to recoup yourself and items and stuff like that. That's kind of cool to me. Like, it adds an extra dimension to just the old around in these like grid-like patterns and walking through the grass, and nothing wrong with you. Your Pokemon die all the time. That's fine. But the more we talk about it, and the more that we've had told to us the recent weeks, at least, I'm more and more excited about it, even though it's a couple of days away. Because we don't know, right? But I do wish maybe if there's like some surprise mode they haven't told us about yet. I would love to see it as some surprise deal where you can roam around with a friend or something on one of the fields, and I don't know, take down one of the alphas or something, or one of the nobles. I don't know. Like, if you can redo, it's maybe not in this. You know how Monster Hunter, some missions you have to do by yourself. You can't send off an SOS flare, and you can't just invite someone into it. And part of me is like, I know that's not going to happen, but I want it. Like, to be able to redo battles or redo fights and like grind for shit, or with a friend, dual battles. Like, maybe it's too early. Maybe that'll be like the next one. They'll build on top of this one. Who knows? But either or, like, I'm just really looking forward to a chill Pokemon game to play. That's so different from all the other mainline games. And I've been waiting for a long time for a game that looks like it'll click for me, because I know you're all about it, and I do like Pokemon. I appreciate it, but I'm one of those Gen 1ers, so it's always been hard to click with any other Pokemon game, because I'm like, I don't recognize any of these things, But at least the Snorlax is in there. I'm gonna catch myself an alpha, and he's gonna be my boy. Otherwise, I'm up for all kinds of surprises what this game's going to give me. But yeah, man, who'd have thunk it? Game Freak's finally breaking out from their minimalistic 2D game experiences and trying to build 3D worlds.
Yeah, and I guess from from that point of view, do you think that this has the potential to change the direction of the franchise? I mean, irrespective of, I know, as you said, you're not really as connected to the series as I am, but there's a school of thought that is, if this is successful, this will be the mold for Pokemon going forward, right? And I see elements of it being, but then there's rumors that Gen 9 is literally coming out either at the end of this year or early next, because it was always intended that Arceus landed last year, and it got pushed. So maybe they push whatever Gen 9 was going to be till next. It was a great call, but just judging by the look of the thing. But I don't know how long they would have had to factor in any of this stuff into whatever the Gen 9 game is. I see Gen 9 being much more akin to Sword and Shield, but just in a different region, where we know that the overworld sprites exist, and you can free roam in the wild area and stuff. Did you wind up picking Shield up in the end?
Almost a number of times.
I was going to say, I couldn't remember if you did.
When they announced Arceus, I was like, there's something about it. I was like, I think this might be my one. And like, to answer your question in a roundabout way, like, I don't see this Legends, if Legends becomes a new series, I don't see that taking over the mainline one, because you got millions and upon billions and trillions of fans that just love Pokemon, even though it's the same shit every time but different, and just new mechanics and gimmicks and shit, which is fine, awesome, man, like whatever. I don't see them replacing all of that with this, going back to such a reboot, so to speak. I think they're gonna, if they have the resources, like alternating years or every 3 years or something, maybe put out another Legends. I'd be down for that, man. Like, if this is my Pokemon series, I'd love that if that became a fact, because the other ones, just, there's too much in it, man. Like, there's too much, like, resetting your EVs or whatever they call them, and the breeding shit, and the shinies hunting, and the contests, like beauty contests and shit, and like all the other crap and like the gym battles and the grinding and the like the farming and like leaving Pokemon at a place like a babysitter place and like all these other mechanics and like night and day cycles and like a different Pokemon. Like I just can't, you know, I was like, that's just too much. Like Pokemon Blue is the best shit, and like X, sorry, that's the one I got. I was like, X was like, yeah, this is my kind of medium, right? Then Let's Go Pikachu was what I wanted, but too simple, unfortunately. But Legends Arceus seems to be something for me that's not overcomplicated. It's an entry point, and I'm all there for it. And I hope if this becomes a new series, they don't just stuff it full of stuff, you know? But whatever, man. If it becomes like another Pokemon Hunter world, you know, like Monster Hunter world, if it becomes that, fucking brilliant. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, I think you'll still get your normal games if it's not isometric, you know, retro style. Like you said, it might be just Sword and Shield. But then this is built off Sword and Shield engine anyway. So
that's what I mean. So what they take from it, I think the only thing that they may, you know, I don't think that we see that there's strong style and speed style fighting in Legends. I don't see them implementing that into the mainline games, but what I could see them doing is the overworld battle system that we see in Legends. So, you know, the creeping up behind, and if the Pokemon doesn't see you, you throw a ball at it, you can catch it without engaging in battle. Or likewise, like when the battle engages, it's in that overworld. I can see that part of Legends being what transfers to the mainline games, but then you are still, you know, you're not just in a hub area and different worlds, you're doing the traversing the lands and going into different cities and earning gym badges and doing the typical stuff that you do in a typical Pokemon experience. I'd be okay with that. That sounds like it'd be kind of for me. Well, but
even Let's Go Pikachu had better sprites. Like they looked like they weren't so chibi. Like none of the sprites were like the chibi ones, like in Diamond Pearl, the new one.
Oh, you can't. Yeah, Diamond and Pearl's the remake's art style's atrocious. It's got It's really bad. But
like I like the Let's Go Pikachu series. How they did their character models and everything. I was like, that's cool. That's a natural evolution for me. But if they brought out another Pokemon game like that, not chibi, but actually proper models and Pokemon characters, but in the same top-down view, that'd be cool. And I think if they did it, if they took elements from Sword and Shield and Arceus, how you're in the overworld and sneaking up on Pokemons and shit, and tried to put it in to the older style, like I don't know how that would work without making it look the same. Like if they're trying to differentiate the two without alienating all the older fans, because people love that shit, man. People love the top-down one. You know, most of the people or the complaints that I saw for the new Diamond Pearl one was, yeah, this is what we want, but the art style sucks. You know, why couldn't you have done something better? You know, we want the remake, but not like this. Why couldn't you do Let's Go Pikachu, but this? So I don't know. I just think if they were going to do two series, why would you make them look the same? I don't know. But
I think on that note as well, the Legends series that you touched on, if this becomes a new thing for them, I fully see that anything with the Pokemon Legends brand will always be set in the past. I think it's something where they'll set it way before current land that we know, because you know Legends Arceus is set way before current day times, if you like. You know, the Pokeballs are made out of like,
I like the sound of that.
They've got little steam jets and stuff on them, haven't they?
I know, I love it. I want a replica one already. Just saying.
It was a pre-order bonus in the UK actually on the Amazon orders. You got a one of the new Pokeballs, but they sold out incredibly quickly.
God damn it.
But yeah, I think the Legends series going forward would always focus on a legend from any of these regions we've been to. I think Sinnoh, or whatever it's called in the new one, is the region they've chose because it aligns. It's like, right, we're coming up on Gen 4 remake, so this makes sense to be the gen that we do. This is the story we've got to tell. We can tell it around the Arceus, for those who aren't aware, is even you, Chunt, from Gen 4 perspective, is the god of all Pokemon. Like, it's like he's God, basically. He created everything. So he's the god of all Pokemon. So it makes sense to start there with your first legend, but then what's to say that the next legend isn't? I don't think it'll be in Kanto, because we have had the Let's Go games recently that were set in Kanto. So
do it again. I'll be there.
The rumours re-Pokemon this year are that Gen 9 is around the corner and Let's Go will get a sequel in the form probably of Johto, so it'd be Let's Go Johto, which is back to Gen 2, which to me, fair enough, that'd play it. I'm keen to go back to Gen 5 because Gen 5 was the best the actual combat experience has ever been. The RPG elements were the best they've ever been in Gen 5. Like the actual competitiveness was really, really good.
Is Gen 5 the one that had the plastic bag Pokemon and keychain Pokemon? You know, where they started, there's like an umbrella and a balloon Pokemon, like.
No, I think they were most of them were Gen 7. Gen 5 was the one that was set in Unova, which was basically a replica of New York.
Oh, right. No
it was Reshiram and Zekrom. You know, they had Black and White 2. That was that era. It was after Diamond and Pearl. It was way before they started, before they really ran out of ideas.
Right. Yeah, there was a few dodgy ones in there.
Yeah,
but man, if they do like go to Kanto, right? If
they won't go back to
the Legend
Kanto.
series. Man, if they do though, like that'd be like, let's bring it on. I'll go there. I'd play that. I really would. Just even if they remade, they're not gonna. But even if they remade Yellow, or Blue and Red or something in the Legends style, fuck me, sign me the hell up. I'll do that again. I'll visit Gen 1 all over again. I'm that person. I'm that demographic.
I mean, there's nothing to say they couldn't, because Kanto maybe looks very different. And again, we're really sort of moving focus from the actual game at hand here to what the series could possibly be. But they reference in the original trilogy. It wasn't a trilogy. The original 3 games, that a war happened. Do you know what I mean? Like that a war broke out. Like you remember fighting like Lieutenant Surge, and he's like, the amount of people that were lost in the war, and his Raichu saved him from death in the war. And it's like they reference the Great War quite a lot. So a Legends in Kanto could easily be like the Great War. It could be set then, and like what? But I don't know. Is that's too dark for Pokemon?
Probably for Pokemon, yes. Probably.
So but do you see what I mean? The opportunities are endless. They can go back to Hoenn, back to Gen 3, and it's like, all right, we had the remakes that had, Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon. It's like, but right, what were the primal forms like way back, like and take it back there. And obviously we're at Gen 4 now, but like I said, Unova, I don't think it fits the legend. I don't know enough about the actual history of the Unova region, to be honest. So it's themed on American culture and, as I said, New York. But it's just interesting to see where the franchise is going. I'm not, to go back to my own original point, like, is this the separator? Does this then become the mold for Pokemon going forward for its next 20 years? Like, is this like, right, no, this is the direction we're going now. We've done the top-down sprite thing, that kind of evolved into a almost semi 3D, like open world, like with Sword and Shield, and it's like, that's a step in the right direction. This is a further step in that right direction. So I fully see that we keep getting the remakes. They'll keep remaking the gens as we approach them. So it's like, we're in Gen 8 now, so we're getting Gen 4's remakes. And in Gen 9, we'll get Gen 5's remakes, and it'll continue at that pace. But these little kind of ideas that they're having, be it Let's Go, which capitalizes on the Pokemon Go crowd, which is still ginormous, by the way. Like, so many people still play that game. They're going to capitalize on it again at some point. But this is refreshing. This is like, right, I'm actually keen to see what this experience offers me. I don't think there's going to be a competitive element to it. I don't think there's going to be a, like, we battle, we know that, and apparently there are trainer battles, but few and far between. So it's not the focus of the game, is what I mean. It's not, you're not focused on trainer battles. That's what I mean. I haven't read or heard anything about that. Is that there's no gyms, like, you're not trying to win a Pokemon League, etc. So.
No, that's right. Like, I mean, it's pre-Pokedex, right? And Pokemon and humans haven't worked together yet, and
they don't even coexist, Jen.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think early days when they started talking about this game, they said like, there's no Pokemon gyms because it's pre all of that, which is even more interesting to me. That was one of the first points I noticed when they revealed the game. I was like, oh, nice. Okay, this is something very different, And I almost got Pokemon Snap too, man. Because I just had that Pokemon itch, and I didn't feel like investing in Sword and Shield type of a massive experience like that. I don't know. This came out of nowhere, man. This game, and somehow it's managed to grab me, even though it looked like crap when it first got revealed. But still, I saw something there that kept me interested, and all the way up until a couple of days before release, and I'm still here looking forward to it. So I think it's a positive step, man, for the franchise. They've had to do something, and like you just kind of alluded to. Like they've had to do something. You know, the fans are getting restless, and like the last couple of releases. There was a Pokedex, what's it, Pokeapocalypse, or what they call it, the Pokedex Apocalypse, or whatever they called it. You know, when Sword and Shield was,
yeah, they chopped a load out. They couldn't fit them all in the game, basically.
Everybody's getting pissy about it, yeah. And then the new Pearl and Diamond game, everybody's cracking their shit. So they're just like, God damn it! Like, doesn't matter what we do, people are going to get pissed off.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They never will please everybody. I think this game is going to be very divisive. And I think back to Sun and Moon and that era, the Gen 7 era, which was the shortest era ever, because they did Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon I think they were a year out from one another. And the issue that people took there was no gyms. It was different. You know, you explored the four, is it the Iki Islands? Is that what they called them? So you explored these 4 islands and basically had to beat every island's, you know, sensei. Yeah. And it was boring. And there was an overarching plot that, you know, with the, I forget what they called, the Ultra Beasts. There was Ultra Beasts in that. So you go through wormholes and fight these, like, weird looking and it didn't resonate with people. It was one of the least successful generations of the game ever, and during that time Pokemon Go was at the peak of its powers, and it's like this just didn't work for people because it took away such a core of that experience. So I think people that are going in looking for that core experience are going to be vastly disappointed, but those that go in with a little bit more kind of an open mind, as you said, like, oh, what is this experience going to be? I'm going in, and you know, we can wrap this to the kind of last point as we approach the half-hour mark. Our expectations for going in. So mine for going in is I'm expecting Monster Hunter, but with a Pokemon flavor. I am expecting it to take all of my free video game time until Horizon comes out. And I'm hoping, I'm expecting to be pleasantly surprised, but I'm still going in with somewhat tempered expectations. I still don't quite. There's something that I'm like, this is gonna go. It's gonna go, and it can only go one way or another. It's gonna be great or it's gonna be terrible. It's not just gonna be okay. I firmly believe it won't just be a game that is okay. It will either be, this is great and it revolutionizes so much of something that I've played since I was, you know, like 7 years old, or it'll be a complete, this is a bit of a flop. I can't see them pursuing this anymore. That's how I'm going in, but open-minded for sure. What about you?
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic because I want to be. I too am expecting somewhat of a Monster Hunter-ish experience, but not as feature-rich. I think
or difficult.
Or difficult, yeah. Which I'm totally down for. Like, I've been playing games on easy for so long now. I just want to chill. So if I can get this kind of chill Monster Hunter type experience, I'm all for it, man. I want to be surprised. It's like I said, it's been a long time since I've been invested in any kind of Pokemon game since X. Really, I don't really consider Let's Go. So like X was like the most recent one in history that I've been invested in playing, which I really enjoyed. So I'm looking forward to getting my Pokemon fix. And if that's all I get from it, like a good story, some challenging fights or battles with some alpha Pokemon, and you know, if I can figure out the mechanics and how to take down the noble Pokemon that they talked about in the trailers, and you know, I don't have to worry about the multiplayer aspects. Like, as far as I know, like they haven't talked about any of that in any of the release information or trailers or anything. So if it's just a single player experience for me, people like me, and I've always saying I want more single player experiences that aren't bogged down by all the other shit, then I think I'll be like pleasantly surprised if I temper my expectations to that. I'm not going to set high expectations because they haven't really shown anything to make us believe that. But hearing that one thing that I mentioned at the top of the show of like the trailers haven't shown what this game really is, does give me a bit more of a optimism, more optimism towards the game. But I'm going to finish Skyward Sword first, man, before I jump into this, because I just want to have a clear time with it. So, you know,
the pace you seem to be cracking through that, you'll be done within 72 hours.
I finished my first temple today, so 3 to go, I guess. I don't know how long the game is.
38 hours is the rough completion time for the main line. So
yeah, I think I'm like 5 hours in or something. So I got a while to go.
You won't be able to resist the temptation. You'll start Arceus when you see the press cycle start and everybody getting hype about it. You know you will.
I haven't played Assassin's Creed Valhalla yet, man. So
plenty of games to get to. Well, we've crossed our half-hour mark, Chunt. So yes. I'll let you go to bed, cool. And I'm going to go back to work. And we're both going to play this video game in like 72 hours time. So we'll have our thoughts and impressions and experiences had on the podcast, which will be next week, I'm assuming. I think. Yeah, we didn't do one this week. We're doing this. So yeah, we'll be back next week, probably with some initial impressions of this.
Will.
Yeah, I know you will. You don't need to. I'm telling you that you're going to. I know you well enough, mate. You will not be able to resist the hype. Well, yeah, we'll see you guys on that show next Monday. Friday's recording days. Yeah, so just over a week from now. But thank you very much for joining us for this impromptu, very much let's do this before it actually comes out session of downloading soon. I'm Jamie. That's Chunt. See you next time.